This is really mostly about Prince, the legend that is Prince, the king that is Prince, and his awareness and his ability to be ahead of the curve in the music industry. He was saying stuff that is now coming to light many years ago in regards to the deviancy of the music industry. It's degenerate and things need to change. Cat Williams has been aware. He's a very good friend with Prince. So let's have a little flick through this.
I met Prince when I was 12.
Where did you meet Prince when you were 12?
In Dayton. After he performed at UD Arena. Yeah, I mean, I knew him my whole life. He was like the guiding force for me. It's the reason I had high self-esteem, was a guy that was always 30 steps ahead of whatever.
See, like before the Club Shay Shay interview, I didn't know he knew Prince, and I wasn't aware that they had a lifelong, basically a lifelong relationship. Since 12 years old, he's known the guy. He's guided him. You know what I mean? So him and Prince have had like this understanding and this friendship, and I didn't know that.
Curve was, and you know, when you play 26, 28 instruments, it means
guy was
that
a genius.
you are able
He was a
to
genius.
be multifaceted.
And when people say that they love you and they respect you, but at the same time take, 80% of your earnings,
Yeah.
and then expect you to fix your own communities, and they'll probably edit all of this out, but
Yeah,
then
it's
it
a
gets,
cabal.
that's the
I'm telling you, music industry and music industry heads, the distributors and all of that, it's all like a cabal, like gangsters that are blocking the flourishment. That's how I see it, the flourishment of the art, because they're stunting the artists. They're stunting the growth of the artists and restricting them in certain ways. It's really terrible, man. And yet they hold all the power.
the sharp part.
Well,
of the sword.
in regards to like publication and advertisement, in regards to making you big, they hold all the gate keys for that. They hold all the keys to the gates. Backwards man, I'm the backwards man.
And we're at the wrong end of it right now. So eventually, with courageous people going out there and actually saying something and standing up for it, I think we'll get some balance.
In April, Tidal was standing alone as the only streamer to have access to the icon's music.
Yeah, I remember this.
The Prince
The way that I don't know how Jay-Z managed to get Prince to do that, to have Prince music only on Tidal. He must have duped him. He must have bamboozled him into believing that it's a thing. Jay-Z has always been about lining his wallets. I love him as a hip hop artist. I think he is one of the greatest of all time in rapping, but I don't think he's in the conversation of top 3 in my opinion. But that aside, him as a personality, him as a person, has always been about the money. It's always been about gaining the wealth. That's what I see when I see Jay-Z.
State is now suing Jay-Z's Rock Nation for copyright infringement.
Sorry.
It shouldn't be a situation where they own the album or the work. It's
No,
we're
it
talking about
shouldn't.
intellectual copyright. If they're going to be indeed a delivery service, then that's fine. But even FedEx doesn't say that they own the thing that they ship.
Exactly.
Cat Williams just dropped a bombshell and revealed the real reasons why the legendary Prince had major issues with Jay-Z and Diddy, and he had receipts to back it all up. More details have recently surfaced about Diddy's close ties with Warner Brothers Records, the label Prince had been fighting against for years. Warner controlled everything about Prince's music, and we all remember how he had to change his name to a symbol just to make a statement about how they were literally trying to own him. Diddy was cozying up with
And there was that epic time when he come out on stage with slave written on his face. Prince was well aware.
Warner the whole time, and yet when Prince died, he had the nerve to talk about how he was heartbroken and claimed Prince inspired him. As for Jay-Z, he did something
Crazy.
even worse and actually tried to trick Prince into moving his entire catalog to Tidal, while also expecting Prince to hand over ownership of his music. However,
How?
Prince saw right through that and wasn't about to let Jay-Z profit off of his art. This drama even led to a huge lawsuit after Prince passed, when his estate accused Rock Nation of overstepping and exploiting his death for profit.
Bastards.
But this is just
Bastards. Bastards. They try to gain ownership of the music. Why? You bastards. You want to control everything. You want to control everything.
the tip of the iceberg, and we're now hearing that Prince also tried to warn artists about Diddy and Jay-Z's rumored freak-off parties. Now, we all know Prince wasn't shy about calling out the dark side of the music industry.
Suspicious.
He was very vocal about the exploitation, manipulation, and shady deals that artists were constantly forced into. So it's no wonder he kept his distance from Jay-Z and Diddy. But ever since Diddy's freak-off parties made headlines, some fans have been speculating that Prince's famous 3121 parties were his way of creating a safer, more positive alternative for artists and industry insiders. Instead of all that freak-off madness, Prince gave people a space for real artistic communion. Prince knew what was up, and he was always 10 steps ahead. And this is why fans are now starting to wonder if Prince's death was really an accidental OD like we've been told, or if Prince was silenced by the industry higher-ups for being a threat to the system. Well, it looks like Prince's longtime friend, Cat Williams, might know a thing or two about this. So let's get into what Cat said about Prince and the reasons he wanted nothing to do with Diddy and Jay-Z.
Well, it's not your game. You didn't make the rules, so everything comes hard. As long as you're signed to a contract, you're going to take a minority share of the winnings. A select few of us will do well.
Look at Russell Simmons. Look at all the CEOs knowing what he's uttering is absolutely the truth. Worried of what he's going to say next. Prince Hugh is an absolute god.
Majority will not. So as a people, we'll be considered a minority. But stop. Let's take a moment and look at yourselves.
Yeah.
There's nothing minor about you.
Okay, so let's first talk about Prince and his battle with Warner Brothers, because this fight wasn't just about money or contracts. It was about control over his art, his identity, and his legacy. Prince's relationship with Warner Brothers started in 1977 when he was just 18 years old and signed a contract with the label. At that time, Prince was this young, fresh talent with undeniable potential, and Warner recognized that, so they gave him something rare: full artistic control. Prince was allowed to write, produce, and play all the instruments on his albums.
Yeah, they would own all the music.
Much unheard of back then, especially for a newcomer. But let's be real, Warner wasn't doing this out of the kindness of their hearts. They knew they had a gold mine on their hands. And while they let Prince have creative control, they still owned everything he produced. During the 80s, Prince became one of the biggest stars in the world, and timeless hits like Purple Rain, 1999, and When Doves Cry skyrocketed him to fame. But the more successful he became, the tighter Warner's grip on him was.
You know.
Like Mariah Carey just had this big $20 million. That's like a huge deal, right?
So you feeling that?
No,
You feeling that $20 million deal?
What the public sees the word $20 million an album.
Yeah, and then they just people just go, willing to sell everything for that. It's crazy to me.
You all think that's a good deal?
What, I mean, tell me why. I mean, what am I missing?
Okay, let's do some math.
Okay.
If
do math like that?
Yeah, kinda. If you sign me, you sign me to a record company or a record deal. Let's suppose you have a record company.
Right.
How much would you give me? The album sells for $18, right? $18.
Whatever. Yeah.
All right. How much of that would you give me?
Well, I don't know how it works.
Well, no.
Half.
Half? Half sound good?
Yeah.
All right. Check this out.
Okay.
If I sell 1 million copies, I'm gonna have $10 million.
Right.
Yep.
Roughly $10 million.
Right.
If I sell 2 million copies, I got $20 million.
Right.
If I just sell 3 million copies, I got $30 million. Now
That's
who
right.
has the biggest record deal?
And how much? And God knows how much she's sold. More than 3 million. She definitely got done over.
Oh, I see. Yeah. Right. Okay.
Right? So Mariah kind of got screwed.
Yeah.
And yes, Prince was making millions, but Warner owned his masters, which meant they controlled how his music was used, sold, and distributed. And every time a Prince song was sold, Warner took the majority of the profits. And this is when Prince started to realize that Warner had no interest in his artistic vision. All they cared about was maximizing their profits. For them, Prince was just another product that they could exploit. But Prince wasn't having it. He started getting frustrated with the label's control over his work, and it didn't take long before the tension became public. And by the early 1990s, the tension had reached a boiling point. Prince was under contract to deliver several more albums to Warner, but he was fed up with the way they were handling his music. Warner operated under the belief that too much new music would oversaturate the market, so they
Damn.
started holding back his releases.
You see what I mean? You see what I mean by stunting the artist, like holding them back. He's got this. He's in that thing and they're holding it like. It's it must for the artist. It must be. You know, it must tear your mind apart. You're thinking, fucking, they're stunting me. They're stopping me from this fucking this progression path that I'm on. Like, what the fuck is this? Jesus, I can sympathize. I can imagine the torment he's going through, man.
Deciding when and how his albums would be dropped. And this really pissed Prince off, because not only was he a creative machine, but he also knew Warner was holding back his work just to maintain their control over him. So in
Bastards.
1993, Prince took matters into his own hands and changed his name to an unpronounceable symbol. The move was
Absolute
both a middle
galaxy
finger to
brain
Warner
move.
and a way to free himself from his contract.
A symbol. Change my name to a symbol. The artist formerly known as Prince. What a move.
Under his birth name, Prince Rogers Nelson, Warner still owned his music. But as the artist formerly known as Prince, he could release new music outside of their control.
My publishing contract with Warner Chappell expired,
Bloody hell.
thus emancipating the name I was given before birth, Prince, from all long-term restrictive documents.
In 93, during the release of the Gold Experience, a legal battle had erupted between Warner Brothers and Prince over the use of his name. See, do you see the level that they go to? This is evil. Yeah.
I will now go back to using my name instead of the symbol I adopted as a means to free myself from all undesirable relationships.
Okay. To date, Prince has won 6 Grammy Awards and an Academy Award. The guy is a legend, and left us with absolute gems that will be enjoyed forever. That's true, forever. And was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in
Prices of
04.
CDs have skyrocketed while the quality of music has plummeted. And as long as middlemen create the means by which the consumer consumes, this will
right.
never change.
He was
The
right.
problem's not a complex one. And the solution is simple. Let the baker make the bread. I'm a musician. I make music.
But the rabbit hole's even deeper than that, and Prince's fans have speculated that Warner wasn't just trying to control his music, but they were trying to break him. There's been a lot of talk over the years that labels like Warner would often suffocate an artist's career once they became too powerful, too influential, or too difficult to control. Think Sam Cooke, Michael Jackson, Whitney Houston, and
Bloody hell.
many other artists who died under suspicious circumstances.
Very
so
suspicious.
Anyway, things hit
Yeah, Slave. This was another what a move again.
a new level in
He's telling you.
1995 when Prince appeared in public with the word slave written on his face. This was his way of publicly declaring that he was a slave to Warner Brothers because they owned his music, his masters, and his identity as Prince. Prince started speaking out about the dangers of signing away your art to big corporations, calling the music industry a modern-day form of slavery.
Crazy.
I had searched deep within my heart and spirit, and I wanted to make a change and move to a new plateau in my life. And one of the ways in which I did that was to change my name. It sort of divorced me from the past and all the hang-ups that go along with it.
In another interview, Prince said Warner Brothers took the name, trademarked it, and used it as the main marketing tool to promote all the music that I wrote. The company owns the
Fucking
name
hell.
Prince. I became merely a pawn used to produce more money for Warner Brothers.
That's how it feels. And what a feeling to harbour inside, to deal with. Your name is gone. It's not yours. It's owned by a corporation, which then use it to create money. It's sickening.
And of course, the industry hated Prince for this. Warner tried to downplay his claims, painting him as an eccentric artist going through a phase. Warner eventually shut down distribution for Prince's Paisley Park Records. And after this, Prince launched a new label called MPG Records. His main goal with MPG was to take full control over his music and release it on his own terms. He secured a deal with EMI Records, which gave him the flexibility to release albums whenever he wanted. But
Okay.
despite this new freedom, Prince continued to speak out against big record labels, even claiming that labels were unnecessary and shouldn't even exist.
Ultimately, it
Brutal.
keeps us
See that? What's a fucking comment?
apart, and it keeps the people in power in charge of us. So ultimately, we're going to have to learn how to be together and become one people. What I've been doing recently is studying the scriptures as deep as I can. so
Getting
that
into the scriptures, my boy.
that's what gives me the optimism, and I would advise anybody, if you want to feel like there's some hope in this joint, I mean, pick up the book and like read it and get somebody to actually show you what's going on in it, because it's a real thing. You don't hear a lot of young people talking about things like I talk about, because they really haven't lived, they haven't gone through a lot of experiences yet, and we can't
Yeah.
really expect them to.
Their eyes are full of stars. They just want the fame, and they just want the fortune that comes with it. They're just seeing that. They don't realize the shackles that they're putting themselves in, and the cage that they're actually shutting and locking themselves. They are doing it, but they're not aware of it. He's 100% right, and it's a tragedy.
Just not all the party, you know, alcoholism and promiscuity. Get some elders up in here. Let's talk about all this. Distribution service. I mean, what do we really need record companies for? I mean,
Yeah, he's right. He's right.
During this time, Prince bounced between
They
different
got a hold on it. They got a monopoly on it. It's a cabal. I'm convinced.
labels, releasing his music through MPG while partnering with major players like Columbia, Universal Music Group, and Clive Davis's Arista, and occasionally even working with Warner again. At the same time, he continued to encourage fellow artists to maintain their independence and explore different partnerships instead of locking themselves into contracts with just one label.
Well, it's not your game. You didn't make the rules, so everything comes hard.
Talk your shit, brother.
As long as you're signed to a contract, you're going to take a minority share of the winnings.
And that's always the way, yeah.
A select
He
few
just
of
said
us will
this.
do well.
Yeah, I'm sure they showed
The
this clip
majority
already.
will not.
Why are they doubling down on us?
So as a people, we'll be considered a minority. But
There's
stop.
nothing minor about
Let's
you,
take a
boy.
moment and look at yourselves.
There's nothing minor about you.
There's nothing minor about you.
However,
My
Prince
boy.
eventually realized that all these labels were pretty much the same, and he became so disappointed with the industry that he said he regretted becoming part of it. Prince told the LA Times, "If I knew the things I know now before, I wouldn't be in the music industry." And then in another interview with Rolling
Crazy.
Stone, Prince explained, "If I can't do what I want to do, what am I? When you stop a man from dreaming, he becomes a slave. That's where I was. I don't own Prince's music. If you don't own your masters, your master owns you."
And that is it. That is it right there. That's it.
And while Prince managed to part ways with Warner, the fight over his masters still wasn't over. Warner still owned everything Prince recorded under their contract,
Bloody
and they
hell.
were making millions off of it. And there's even a theory that Warner wanted to keep control over Prince's catalog for as long as possible, not just because it was valuable, but because Prince's independence was a threat to the whole system. If Prince could prove that an artist could thrive outside of the traditional label structure, it could inspire others to follow his examples and potentially tear down the industry's control over artists.
But I also have the impression now that slave is not anymore on your cheek here, that you feel fresh, new, more funky, more inspired.
Yes, sir. Very
How
much.
come?
Well, once you free yourself
I have been freed from the shackles of the. I'm joking.
from all contractual binds, you
Yeah.
make music different.
To an
in the
extent.
studio. You're not thinking about working for someone, thinking about just creating for God.
Yeah, that's important.
Legend.
In 2007, Prince took another bold step to reclaim control of his music in the digital age, and he announced plans to sue YouTube, eBay, and the Pirate Bay for using his
Crazy.
music without permission.
Damn.
And this was another major threat to the whole industry. Meanwhile, Prince also removed his music from all streaming platforms except for Jay-Z's Tidal. See, Prince thought for a moment that Jay-Z really cared about art and helping independent
Jay-Z? Oh, it goes about the money. It's always been about money.
artists. But like many others before him, Prince quickly realized that Jay-Z cared only about one thing: lining his own pockets.
That's what
So
it's all
in
about.
2015, Prince found himself in another battle with the industry power players, this time with Jay-Z. Prince was a huge supporter of artist-owned platforms, so at first he was interested in working with Jay's Tidal, a
Yeah,
streaming
Jay
service
must,
that promised to give artists more control and a bigger cut of
bamboozled
the
him.
profits. However, Jay-Z wanted more than just Prince's support. He wanted ownership of Prince's entire music catalog.
Why? Why? Why the greed? Why do you want ownership of it? This is Prince. Fuck. I will never understand that. It's greed. It's just complete and utter greed. That's what it is. It's a scary sort of greed as well. Like, fuck. That's enough.
Catalog for Tidal, which Prince immediately shut down. And then, after Prince tragically passed away in 2016, things got even messier. His estate accused Rock Nation of trying to profit off Prince's death by exploiting his music without authorization.
Fuck
Rock
hell.
Nation argued they had the rights, but Prince's
Got the rights. We got the rights. What do you mean?
team wasn't having it, and the estate filed the lawsuit against Jay-Z. See, Prince allowed Tidal to stream his album Hit and Run for a limited amount of time. However, after Prince died, Tidal continued to stream Prince's entire back catalog, despite Prince giving them permission to stream only one album for just 90 days. But Jay-Z was shameless, and he started publicly bragging about having control over Prince's masters, despite the fact that Prince never left them to Tidal. In fact, just 1 month after Prince died, Jay-Z dropped a verse on Fat Joe and Remy Ma's All the Way Up remix, rapping, "Prince left his masters where they safe and sound. We never gonna let the elevator take him down." Now, here's where things get even more sketchy. Prince died almost exactly 2 years after he regained control of his masters from Warner Music. On April 18th, 2014, news broke that Prince had officially regained ownership of his iconic catalog. Then, almost 2 years to the day later, on April 21st...
What a tragedy. At 57. Still young.
2016, Prince was found dead in an elevator at his Paisley Park home. Prince's death was ruled an accidental OD, and according to the police report, he thought he was taking Vicodin to manage his pain. However, the pills were counterfeit and laced with the deadly fentanyl.
Hours after announcing a decision not to file charges in Prince's death, authorities released documents and video of his last days. Among the evidence, pictures from Paisley Park on the day Prince died, showing pills and a Bayer bottle authorities say contained the deadly counterfeit Vicodin.
You can never be sure. You can never be sure of this sort of situation. I don't know, man. I just find it all very suspicious.
But the counterfeit pills contain the potentially deadly opioid fentanyl.
So with all these weird coincidences, it didn't take long before Prince's fans started speculating that his death wasn't just an accident and that someone may have given him laced pills on purpose. Even some people in the industry like Kanye West doubted the official story. In fact, Kanye openly suggested that both Michael Jackson and Prince were killed, and he hinted that he almost met the same fate. Kanye shared this photo of Prince with the word slave on his face and wrote, "Let's get it big, bro. You and Michael passed so we can live." Now, as for Diddy, the main reason why Prince kept his distance from him is because Diddy worked closely with Warner while Prince was fighting for his freedom. In 2005, Diddy announced a joint venture between Bad Boy Records and Warner Music Group. Liar Cohen, chairman and CEO of U.S. Recorded Music for Warner Music Group, and Jay-Z's close friend, said at the time, "We're thrilled to welcome Sean and Bad Boy Records to the Warner Music fold. We believe Sean's entrepreneurial spirit and willingness to push the envelope creatively will be a perfect fit for Warner Music Group." The Bad Boy name has not only stood for hip-hop music for more than a decade, but has evolved into a unique and vital brand. And then Diddy responded in a statement saying, "I'm thrilled to be working with Liar Cohen and the entire WMG family. It was important for me to have the opportunity to grow Bad Boy, and I can do that with WMG. This is a perfect situation for me and Bad Boy, and I can't wait to get out there and continue making music history." Now, if you don't know about Liar Cohen, this is the man who openly admitted he signs artists who promote substance
this guy is a
despite
fucking...
knowing how this affects the community.
One of the biggest artists you ever had was had a real bad problem, DMX.
I'm so sad. It's the most dangerous thing that's facing our society.
So why sign an artist that would promote that?
Because
Yo, Ben, what's going on, my brother? I appreciate you, my father. How you doing? How you doing today? Hope you're having a good day.
I already answered that question. You weren't paying attention. She asked me talent
Sorry, father, I just see
or
it.
issues, and I said talent.
In Egypt, let's go.
But I have.
I'm watching Arsenal today.
I can't give up on people.
Don't you think that's hypocritical though?
This guy, liar.
You're saying the
it's
opioid problem's a
opportunistic.
problem.
Yeah, I got people to feed.
He's a liar.
I got a business to run.
I got people to feed. I got You know, people. Oh, what a thing to say, bruv. What a knobhead.
Big Dame Dash, take this clip and call you a culture vulture.
Who's named Dash? You brought him up. I don't even know him. I don't even know him.
And I'm sure they work together.
So
I'm pretty sure.
Bring him his name up. I don't even know him. So
Y'all made a lot of money together.
Made a lot.
Come on, don't do that.
I don't
Why?
know him. I really don't.
You could tell this is the sort of guy who's a liar, a vulture. He'll do anything for that money, bro. You could tell it. And then they're infiltrating hip hop. Doomed.
So,
Absolutely doomed.
I don't know what to tell you.
By the way, there's also
Arsenal. Don't listen to that. Don't listen to that. Arsenal. Don't ever listen to that. It's always been about Arsenal. Don't listen to him. That's just, I don't know what that was. I think that might have been a glitch. I'm not too sure, guys, but Arsenal. Arsenal. You're killing me, bro.
this wild conspiracy theory that Liar has ties to a certain foreign intelligence agency and that he infiltrated hip-hop to push a certain agenda.
Oh, a foreign...
One of the reasons...
Wait, hold on. A foreign agency? Who could he be with? Who could he be with? I wonder what foreign agency this is that's infiltrating hip-hop with an agenda. I wonder what is that?
For this conspiracy is the fact that Liar was caught lying about his parents on several occasions. And it seems like...
Liar was caught lying. It says it in the name. Arsenal. Dun, dun, dun. Arsenal for life, bro. Watching today at 5. Go get it, boy.
Doesn't want people to dig deeper into his background. Back in October 2023, Liar appeared on Vlad TV, and when Vlad asked him about his parents...
I wonder what foreign entity.
Liar first said that his mom was a housewife, but then...
Housewife?
Later in the interview, he let it slip that his mom actually worked for the Israeli government.
Okay. Oh.
And helped him get a job at the National Bank of Israel.
And my parents, incredible parents, 3 other brothers, and just a loving, happy family. My dad was the head of psychiatry for Kaiser Permanente, and my mother was just a housewife.
A housewife. Oh.
And raising children, and remarkable period of my life.
Now, I've always assumed that you were born in Israel because you have like a slight accent when you speak. Have you heard this before?
Yeah, so...
He's Israeli.
My parents weren't immigrants because they weren't staying here.
Okay.
So my biological father was coming here just for his education. And my mother worked for the Israeli government.
I thought she was a housewife. But I get the story straight, Liar Cohen.
And so when I
It's
was
in the
born,
name.
I went straight back to Israel.
Oh, so you stayed there for a while.
I spent my first 3 years in Petah Tikva.
Okay, and after you graduated, you went to go work for the Bank of Leumi?
Yeah, Bank Leumi is the National Bank of Israel.
Uh-huh.
My mother got me the job.
Oh. He's a liar.
And it was just when the Shah fell in Iran, and all of the Jewish Persians came straight to Beverly Hills. So we're counting money there.
A lot of money.
And you
Ooh,
know,
counting money there.
I was supposed to be a financial analyst, but I ended up counting money, and I think I was making $14,000 a year. I was miserable. It was horrible existence. But my mother got me the job. I have a college degree, and so I thought that was the responsible thing for me to do.
Now let's circle back to Prince and Diddy. Besides Diddy doing business with Warner and Liar Cohen, the same people Prince tried to warn everyone about, there's another theory
That's the shit that
floating
Diddy's
around
on.
about the reason Prince wanted nothing to do with Diddy.
That's the sort of shit that
according to
Diddy's
some
on.
insiders,
He's on that
after
sort of
Prince
shit.
learned what Diddy was doing at those freak-offs, he started staging his famous 3121 parties as a response. Prince's 3121 parties were invite-only events where artists could escape the toxic side of the industry and share ideas for their art without label executives meddling. And some believe that these events were Prince's way of offering
Third, what's
artists
going
an
on, my brother
alternative
Mark?
to those
How's it
depraved
going?
industry parties over at
I'm
Diddy's
gonna watch the
house.
new video.
Prince also kept his distance from Diddy, and there's only one known photo of them together. And
Yeah.
this was when they happened to be seated next to each other at the 2007 NBA All-Star Game. Aside from this, Prince kept to himself and stayed far away from Diddy's
vibes.
circle. However, he didn't stay quiet. Allegedly, Prince was constantly warning other artists to avoid those industry parties and encouraging them to stand up to their labels. And this is exactly why so many fans believe his death wasn't an accident. And it's not just the fans. Rumors are going around that Cat Williams will soon sit for another explosive interview a year after his explosive Club Shay appearance.
No way. I would love that. Let's do that. Let's do that. The big boy Mark.
And he allegedly plans to show receipts proving that Prince was taken out by the industry higher-ups. Those same higher-ups who allegedly enabled Diddy in all his depraved crimes. And while these reports haven't been confirmed, people are already excited about what Cat might reveal about Prince. As for Prince's feelings about Jay-Z and Diddy, fans are saying this is yet another proof that Prince was ahead of the curve, and he tried to warn us about all this stuff that we're now reading about in the headlines. Not only that, but some fans are also pointing out that Prince died just months after that whole situation with Tidal, and the caption on his last post was, "Just when you thought you were safe." But what's your take on Prince and all these theories linking his death to Jay-Z, Diddy, and the industry higher-ups? Do you think Prince was really deleted for trying to make a positive change in the industry?
Suspicious.